So my final project was a quadcopter controlled via a glove with flex sensors and an accelerometer and gyroscope. So right here is the construction of the glove. It's a breadboard taped to the back and three flex sensors right there with an accelerometer right behind the knuckles. Um, I put in a high pass filter on the voltage for the controller. That's for the throttle. And I have two buttons that I use as interrupts, switching between modes. All that's connected to the Arduino and then connected to the controller. I desoldered one of the joysticks to add a voltage divider and be able to connect it to the Arduino. And I left the other joystick soldered and just connected to the pin on the side to control the throttle. That's no biggie. Here's the drone. It's tiny. It's about the size of a hockey puck. And the behavior with the Arduino is a lot like a hockey puck. So yeah, let's go ahead and turn these guys on. When the drone is on, it flashes those colors. And let's turn this guy on. Cool, so they're connected. So my program initially writes out the flex sensor input and gyroscope input. It then offsets it when I press the red button to stabilize. Right now it's in a mode that waits to stabilize the gyroscope and the flex sensors. And you break it out of that by using the first interrupt, which is the red button. So it breaks out of that, goes into flying mode, pilot mode. And let's give this guy a little run. So the flex sensors control the throttle. Let's put this guy on the ground. Okay, so the flex sensors, they control the throttle. So by bending them down. You get that. So the best way to control this thing is by holding your hand flat on a flat surface. It'll make sure that you don't accidentally activate one of the gyroscopes. When you do want to fly it, you can squeeze the throttle and it'll start to spin. If you want to go forward, just lean your hand forward and it'll go forward. If you want it to go left and right and back and forward. Oh, where'd you go? Oh, you got caught. Either way. Left. Forward. And let's go forward again. And there you go. So pressing the red button will restabilize the glove, and the second interrupt button will well, it's supposed to make it do a little loop on the ground. Let me show you that real quick. Do a little thing. But yeah. And that's my final project. A little bit more about the circuit I created, which is the most time-consuming part, I'd say, was figuring out how this high-pass filter worked. So the analog write function on the Arduino just gives PWM, pulse width modulation, and that is not something that the RC controller likes. They'd rather just have a stable voltage. So what I did was I created a high pass filter using three 100 micro farad capacitors and 110 microfarad capacitors, 110 microfarad capacitor, and a 33 kilo ohm resistor. And that is for the throttle. For the others, I just soldered some voltage dividers from the board, which is it runs off 3 volts. And so when there was no signal being sent, it would pin the left, right, and forward, backward movement to stable. So that's how the copter stays stable. Yeah, I think that's all to explain.